The person who looks the weakest is often fighting the hardest battle you'll never see. Not against enemies, but against the voice inside their own head, telling them they're not enough. And no character embodies that internal war more than Usopp. In a crew filled with monsters, geniuses, and fearless fighters, Usopp stands out for one reason. He's human. Not in strength, not in ability, but in doubt, in fear, in hesitation. And yet, despite all of that, he keeps showing up. From the moment we meet Usopp, he's not introduced as a warrior, but as a storyteller, a liar, someone who exaggerates his strength because deep down, he doesn't believe it's real. And that right there is the foundation of his psychology. Usopp doesn't lie to others to deceive them. He lies to protect himself from a truth he's not ready to face. That he feels small, that he feels weak, that in a world of giants, he doesn't belong. And that's something a lot of people understand more than they're willing to admit. Because self-doubt doesn't always look like insecurity. Sometimes it looks like jokes. Sometimes it looks like overconfidence. Sometimes it looks like avoidance. And Usopp carries all of it. He talks big, he dreams big, but when danger shows up, his first instinct is fear. Real, uncontrollable fear. The kind that doesn't care about your goals or your pride. The kind that freezes you. And this is where Usopp becomes powerful. Not because he doesn't feel fear, but because he acts anyway. That's courage. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. Every time Usopp steps into a fight, he's not just facing an opponent, he's facing himself. He's fighting the version of him that wants to run, that wants to hide, that wants to survive at all costs. And every time he chooses to stand, he grows. Look at his journey with Monkey D. Luffy and the crew. He's surrounded by people who are naturally strong, naturally fearless. Roronoa Zoro doesn't hesitate. They move with certainty. But Usopp, every step is a battle. And that's what makes his growth so real. Because it's not automatic, it's earned. The turning point in Usopp's story isn't a power-up, it's a breakdown. His conflict over the Going Merry, his fight with Luffy, that moment wasn't about strength, it was about identity. Usopp felt replaceable, useless, like the crew could move on without him. And instead of confronting that pain directly, it came out as anger, as pride, as resistance. That's how self-doubt works. It doesn't always show itself as weakness. Sometimes it shows itself as defiance. And when Usopp put on the mask of Sogeking, something incredible happened. He became the person he believed he needed to be. Confident, brave, decisive. But here's the deeper truth. Sogeking wasn't a different person. It was Usopp, without the weight of his own self-perception. It was proof that the courage he was searching for was already inside him. He just couldn't access it while identifying with his fear. This is where Usopp's story becomes a lesson in identity. The way you see yourself shapes the way you act. If you see yourself as weak, you hesitate. If you see yourself as capable, you move. And Usopp is constantly shifting between those identities. Some moments, he's the coward. Other moments, he's the sniper, who saves the entire crew from impossible situations. The difference isn't his ability, it's his belief. And failure plays a huge role in this transformation. Usopp fails. A lot. He gets beaten, embarrassed, overwhelmed. But instead of those failures breaking him completely, they reshape him. Slowly, painfully. Every loss chips away at the illusion that he can stay the same. And eventually, he realizes something important. You don't grow by avoiding failure. You grow by surviving it. That's why his moments of bravery hit so hard, because you know what it cost him to get there. When Usopp stands his ground, it's not casual. It's not easy. It's everything he has. It's him choosing to override years of fear in a single moment. And that kind of courage is rare, because most people wait until they feel ready. Usopp acts while feeling unready, and that's the real secret. There's also something powerful about the way Usopp supports the crew. He's not the strongest fighter, but he plays a critical role. Strategy, precision, creativity. He finds ways to win that don't rely on brute force. And that's another lesson. Strength isn't always about overpowering. Sometimes it's about adapting, about using what you have, even if it feels small. And then there's the dream, to become a brave warrior of the sea. Notice that Usopp doesn't dream of becoming the strongest. He dreams of becoming brave. That tells you everything about his journey. This isn't a story about power. It's a story about overcoming internal limitations, about rewriting the narrative you've been telling yourself your entire life. Because at the end of the day, Usopp's greatest enemy was never an external opponent. It was the voice in his head that said, "You can't." And every time he proves that voice wrong, even in the smallest way, he takes another step forward. That's why Usopp is one of the most important characters in One Piece. Not because he's the strongest, but because he represents the struggle most people live with every day. The gap between who you are and who you believe you can be. The fear of not being enough. The hesitation before taking a risk. And here's the truth. Courage isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Through action, through failure, through moments where you want to quit, but choose not to. Usopp teaches us that you don't need to eliminate fear to become strong. You just need to stop letting it decide for you. So the next time you feel that doubt creeping in, that hesitation holding you back, remember this. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel confident. You just need to take one step forward, despite it all. Because that's how courage is built.